many people came up to you and offered you funding for this idea once it started to take off?
In the early days, zero, literally none, because we didn't have any traction. And the first 2 or 3 years, that was one reason why we self-funded the business. In 2013, 14, when we were building it, the idea, was that you raise a round of angel funding and then a Series A, B, C, and D, and we kind of dipped our toe into that game, but we got no response, no traction, and most reason why is because we're from Nashville, Tennessee. There's not a big venture capital pool here, and all of the outbound we were doing on the West and East Coast, we were just getting crickets. So we were like, well, we better put our heads down and go to work. And then after we started making our first $10,000 a month in revenue, and 30 and 40, and getting 50,000 a month in revenue, we were like, well, why would we waste time raising money when we can put that energy into growing the business? And I mean, we're raising a seed check every month now. Let's just do more of this. It's working. And so we never look back. Now, we turn down, I mean, there's a venture capitalist in my email box every day. And, I sometimes I respond, sometimes I don't. But now we don't need funding. There's no reason for us to raise capital.
If it's Blackstone, maybe just drop a reply, say, how you doing?
If it's a SoftBank or a Tiger or something like that, and a lot of times I will get on the phone with VCs sometimes because they're just flat out smart people, and you always can learn something from them. And so sometimes that is time well spent. But if it's a junior associate, their job is to pound the phones. That's a waste of everybody's time for us.
Deal flow.
But But if it's somebody who's been around the block, I'll talk to them because I can always learn something.
That's good. You definitely carry that spirit about you of constantly learning, adapting, growing. When you were managing 150 employees, did you go to school to have any background for that, or did you just go straight from high school and jump into this business and it just kind of took you along with it, or how did that go?
Yeah, it's nobody teaches us how to be a founder. Nobody teaches us how to be a leader. Nobody teaches us how to be a manager. And so you kind of have to learn these things on the fly, particularly if you're founding a business. And that's one of the cool things about starting your own business is you will evolve into a whole new person every 2 or 3 years. At least that's been my experience. You look back 5 years ago where you were at, and you're not even the same person. And that's a great thing about starting your own business, is that the marketplace is going to require you to level up. And so for me, a lot of times, my journey has just been like this series of like blocking and tackling of, okay, well, now I have 5 employees, and now, I'm the culture of the business matters, and I'm having to do weekly stand-ups, and I'm having to figure out how to lead these people towards one mission. So you start reading books on leadership. You start going conferences on leadership. You start learning from other mentors on how to be, cultivate your leadership style. And then maybe you get pretty good at that, and then now you're like, well, now I got to be a pretty good recruiter. And so now you read books on how to out recruit your competitors and how to level that game up. And so it's always this journey of like blocking and tackling for whatever skill set you need at that stage of the game, and being like 80-20 good at a dozen different things has been my style. Doing this for 20 something years, and that's one of the things I love about it. I never in a million years would have picked up a book on, I don't know, like copywriting or data analysis or things like that. But there's been stages of the journey that required that of me. And I've learned that you can pretty much learn anything if you apply yourself to it.
What was your main engine for growth when you guys were, so I'm going to split that into 2 questions. So when you were growing the lawn care business, which is more the brick and mortar boots on the ground, because we have all sorts of different people who listen to the show. So on that side, what was your main engine for growth on the brick and mortar side of your business?
Yeah, I think every business, small, large, tech, blue collar, analog, digital, needs to have some sort of flywheel, growth flywheel at the core of the business. What is the business doing, and what is the natural exhaust of the business that is causing it to grow? And so in my first company, it was probably year 6 that I started to really understand that we weren't in the landscaping business. We were a sales organization.
Dang right,
we were really like, I mean, it doesn't matter what you're selling. You have to have a process, a repeatable framework. And I really started to key in on, okay, what is the flywheel in the business, and how do we how do we use that to sell more work and get more customers and take more market share and grow the business. And so I started developing a sales team, and I myself had to become the sales manager, and I became a decent sales manager for a while. And then I was able to get my own sales manager to run it and run our process, run our sales process. And we had the flat out best sales process in our little market. You know, we beat the pants off of our competitors in terms of prospecting and presenting, and we had a stronger value proposition than our competitors did, and nobody else was doing that at that time in the landscaping business and in our market in Nashville, Tennessee. And so that was the engine of growth. Fast forward to today, GreenPal, we don't have a sales team. We're not an outbound sales organization. We're an inbound sales organization. We have to develop traffic to come to our main property, and the way we do that is through organic SEO. We have bet the entire company on creating a property that generates traffic, that gets clicks, that gets eyeballs when somebody's looking for a lawn mowing service. So when somebody's looking for a lawn mowing service in Lincoln, Nebraska, they go to Google. We're one of the options you can consider when you type that into your browser. And doing that in every small city and town and major city in the United States has been one of our core competencies. And so there's a saying that first-time founders worry about product, and second-time founders worry about distribution. And if you have done this before and now you're a second-time founder, you know the product's got to be good. That's table stakes, but you're asking questions around, okay, well, how are we going to get people to use this? How are we going to get people to find out about it? How are we going to drive awareness about it? How are we going to get people to try it out? And because all these other things don't even matter until you can figure that out.